Hi guys, welcome to nitrogen cycle. So in terms of the specification, you need to be able to describe the role of the bacteria in the process of nitrogen cycle, and you need to be able to describe this process in terms of four main aspects, which are ammonification, nitrification, nitrogen fixation, and denitrification. So what's important, you don't actually really need to know the species of the bacteria which are included in the process. You just need to know the overall types of the microorganisms. So what is the nitrogen cycle? Obviously, it's the natural cyclic process in the course of which atmospheric nitrogen will enter the soil and will become a part of living organisms. Because you need to remember that nitrogen gas is unreactive and it's not easily converted into other compounds. So most of the plants will take up the form of the nitrogen by active transport through the roots in the form of nitrates. And this can be then used by plants and animals to make, for example, protein and nucleic acids for growth. So this is your linking bit in case you would like to use it for the, for example, for the essay topic. So the nitrogen cycle, okay, involves, as we've mentioned, four processes. So for those four processes, we will have four different types of the microorganisms of the bacteria. So we will start this process with the nitrogen. So nitrogen in the atmosphere obviously cannot be easily absorbed by plants. So it has to be converted into ammonia. So the process of converting nitrogen gas into ammonia, it's called nitrogen fixation, and it's then done by the nitrogen fixing bacteria. So ammonia then will be further converted into ammonium, and this ammonium, of course, could also come from the dead organic matter. So when the plants or the animals will die, they will contain proteins, they will contain urea, and the process of converting the dead organic matter into ammonium, it's called ammonification. So let's focus on the ammonium now. So ammonium will be further converted into nitrites and nitrates. This process is called nitrification. Okay, and nitrates, this is the form that will be taken by plants and could be assimilated to produce, for example, proteins or nucleic acids. Finally, the last process, it's called denitrification. So it will be the process of turning back to the nitrogen gas. So let's double check the bacteria now. So for the nitrogen fixation, we've got nitrogen fixing bacteria. So one more time, from the nitrogen gas to the ammonium. So further, we had the ammonification, which was done by decomposers or ammonifying bacteria. So from the dead organic matter back to the ammonium ions, so they can dissolve in the soil. Then ammonium ions will be converted into nitrates and nitrites. This is done by nitrifying bacteria, and finally, the nitrifying bacteria are going to undergo going to carry out the process of denitrification. So one more thing to look at here is actually the process of the ammonium ions to the nitrates and to the nitrites. So this is oxidation. So oxidation, if you don't remember, oxidation is loss of the hydrogen or electrons, but gain of the oxygen. This process is really important because it's going to release energy. So this is the whole process of nitrogen cycle. Make sure you know it well. So what we've got left here, we've got the past paper question. So, for example, fertilizers contains ammonium compounds and explain how soil bacteria and the use of fertilizers will improve crop yield. So really typical question. So what we need to include in here, obviously, the everything what we've mentioned on our diagram. So ammonium compounds could come from proteins, amino acids, urea, nitrogen containing compounds, and they be converted into nitrate later on. Then this process is provided by nitrifying bacteria, by also nitrogen fixing bacteria to fix nitrogen from atmosphere into nitrates, which will be taken up by plants. And to finish your answer, you need to say that the nitrogen will be needed, for example, for the protein synthesis or for the plant growth. So two more things in terms of the specification is the role of saprobionts in recycling chemical elements such as phosphorus and nitrogen. So what's the job of them? So saprobionts will decompose that plants, animals, waste products, for example, urea or feces, by secreting enzymes for extracellular digestion, so extra outside, to hydrolyze organic molecules, and saprobionts will absorb soluble needed nutrients. So that's the role of saprobionts. And the role of mycorrhizae in recycling chemical elements such as phosphorus and nitrogen. That's another part of specification. So here they provide symbiotic relationship between fungi and roots of plants. The fungi will act as extensions of the plant roots, so they are made of really thin strands called hyphae, and the job of them is to increase surface area for plant root system and increase the rate of water absorption and nutrients absorption. So the mutualistic relationships between the plants and fungi, it's mainly that the fungi will receive organic compounds, for example, carbohydrates, but the plants will receive important nutrients. So to summarize, how did we get from the plants to the animals? So the plants absorb mainly nitrates, which we've seen on our diagram, which are converted into nitrates in the roots and transported through the xylem, okay, to the leaf for protein synthesis, for example. Nitrates are converted into ammonium ions in the leaves, which will react with sugars to make, for example, amino acids. And animals will get nitrogen from plants, and any of this excess will be given as urea, ammonia, or uric acid. So in our next video, we will be looking at the phosphorus cycle, which also is a part of specification. So that's everything for the nitrogen cycle. See you later.